Welcome, friends of the Greasy Shop Rag. Today we're going to take a look at a Husqvarna 125B handheld blower. The customer complaint is that it won't start. On the rare occasion that it does start, it doesn't run very well at all. So if you noticed right in the beginning, I grabbed the air filter cover and I wiggled it. And that whole carburetor is loose. This is a common problem with these blowers. I'm going to show you the steps needed to repair it. I'm going to show you why it happens. And then we're going to run into a second problem on this blower, and we're going to dig into that as well. So these 4 screws that hold the starter on, those are a fine thread screw. You want to keep them separate from these next 3 screws that are coarse thread screw running into plastic. Once you have all 7 screws out, you'll be able to lift this side cover off the engine. There we go. And you'll see that we have a muffler guard that's just kind of hanging there. You'll want to grab that. And it's actually kind of clean under here. A lot of times it's not this nice. Alright, the next thing we're going to do is remove the screw that holds the blower tube on. The reason for removing it is that we're going to separate the other half, the fan cover, and that screw's just got to go. So these are the rest of the screws that hold that fan cover on. We'll pop these out, and the cover will lift right off. Here's our fan. You can see that it looks like it's been rubbing. A couple of those fins had some wear marks on them. We're going to remove the nut that holds the fan in place. And we'll notice that the fan is cracked. So that fan is junk. These 3 screws are engine mounts, and if they ever come loose and the engine flops around in there, a lot of times these screws will be broken. I've even seen corners of the engine block itself cracked. So the whole purpose of doing this is to loosen the engine up so we can access 2 screws. Alright, there's a few more engine mounts on this side. Not every screw in here has to come out, just the ones that are running through this engine housing and into the plastic housing. And then there's 2 screws on the fuel tank that we're going to want to remove as well. So we got to pop that fuel tank out of place here to access the screws we need. I dropped one, so we got to recover that. Alright, the tank can pull out of place. It's kind of tucked in there pretty good. Got to give it a bit of a yank. But now that I have all those screws out of the engine, I can access these 2 screws on the bottom of the intake insulator block and crank them down tight. And once I do that, then our carburetor will be tight again. Now I've showed this in other videos, but we're going to take a little bit closer look here at what we have going on. So you can see that that's the intake boot, and because the insulator block is loose, this thing can flop around. Well, there's your impulse line, and there's your intake. Well, what happens when you have a bad seal on your intake or your impulse port? You end up with problems, right? These are the 2 screws we're tightening up. You can only access them by loosening up the engine on this thing. So if we tighten those down, first I said tighten up, now I said tighten down. Now the intake is snug on there, and that's all we need to do to fix the problem. It's kind of weird that it can be sucking air right there, but I've never seen one of these scored because of this problem. Maybe the impulse hole is leaking enough right there that, you know, the carb's not getting any fuel. What I mean by that is the impulse hole runs the fuel pump in the carburetor. And if we don't have a good pulse between the crankcase and the fuel pump and the carb, then we're not going to be pulling fuel out of the tank up to the carburetor. So I don't know, that's just a theory. I'm not sure which one's going on. I do know that if I tighten the screws, they'll run again. So we have our engine tightened down on the other side. We have our fuel tank bolted down. We're going to run these 3 screws back in here. You can see on that orange housing where the fan's been rubbing. We'll have to replace that cracked fan. Now there's a couple different styles of axle or crankshaft adapters and different fan blade styles. So you make sure you match up your product number with the correct part number for your model. This is our trigger linkage. First thing we want to do is install the linkage in the carburetor and then on the trigger itself, and then lay it over the peg. Here's our engine cover. The only real trick here is I probably should have laid that muffler guard in there first, and the kill switch kinda is the only thing that never gets lined up right on its own. So you want to pay attention to those 2 things. I'm getting way ahead of myself on this one. I don't know why. I've done 100 of these and I forgot this stupid little cover. But it kind of works this way too. Almost looks like I knew what I was doing. Alright, we're going to bolt this down into place. Make sure that we use the coarse screws on the top 3 holes, and then the fine thread screws on the starter. Wiggling that starter cord a little bit helps to get everything lined up just right so we can tighten it down. We're getting closer. We're going to give it a test run and see if this thing's going to go. Look at that nasty air filter sitting there from a concrete saw. Alright, we're going to prime it, choke it, see if it'll start. Okay, so it's a runner, but not a stopper. I didn't have this complaint on the work order, so we're going to backtrack a little bit here and try and figure out what's going on. So the potential problems could be a bad kill switch, bad connection, bad ground. Let's get our meter out and start poking around and see what we can find. If I touch the 2 terminals on the meter together, you can see the numbers flash on the meter. So I'm going from one side of the switch to the other side of the switch to ground. I'm not having any luck here. I don't know what's going on. I thought, should I edit this part out? But this is what really happened. Alright, so we're on one wire and we're on the ground. We're on the other wire. There we go. So we have a connection between the switch and ground. We can see that. Now we're going to, I don't know what's going on here. I don't have a close enough view of the switch to see which terminal I'm on. But it looks like the switch works when I have one connection on ground and the other on the output of the switch. It shorts to ground. But when I go from the coil to the switch, I don't have continuity in that one wire. And if we take a closer look at that wire, we'll see that it pulled right out of the terminal. So all that monkeying around just to discover that we're going to need to crimp a new terminal on the end of this wire. Which, that's good, we found the problem. So we'll strip the end of that wire. We're going to double strip it. And we've sourced a new terminal. What's going on here? We'll just crimp it on the end of that wire. Nice and snug. Push it on the coil. We're not going to do a circuit test on that wire. We're just going to assume that it worked. Our switch is in place. This time we've left the muffler guard in place. We'll put it back together. This is, a couple things got to line up. That spark plug boot doesn't necessarily push through that hole real easily. The stop switch, the clear plastic rain protector, that thing's got to be lined up just right. And then we'll do our starter again. A little faster this time. Then we're going to try and test run this thing, and we're going to try and test stop this thing. And if it starts and it stops, then that's all I'm going to have for you on the Husqvarna 125B that had a loose carburetor. Thanks for watching. Later.